would do a makeup tutorial about how I did my makeup for my own wedding. Yes, I did my own makeup. I decided to do my own because I've been doing my own for however many years now, and I actually started out doing more intense makeup, like for going clubbing or going out, and I don't wear makeup every day. So I was already used to doing more heavy photo ready makeup, and I figured if I know what looks good on my eyes, why would I hire someone else to do it when I could do it myself? The only problem was that I didn't know how to use foundation, so I had to research a lot about what foundations to use, what primers to use, powders, blushes, and all of that. And so I would just watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I feel like this would be helpful for those of you who are also hoping to do your own makeup for your wedding. Here you can see what it looked like in person on the actual day of the wedding. You can see that it photographed well, it looked flawless, my falsies looked really good, and overall I got a lot of compliments on my makeup. So if you're thinking about doing your own, don't be afraid. And honestly, you know your makeup style the best. I wouldn't recommend this for those that aren't good about doing their makeup or they're unsure. It is stressful the day of the wedding because you have so many things you need to think about, but I actually enjoy doing my makeup, so it was like a nice therapeutic thing I was able to do in the morning for myself, and I knew I had control over it, whereas the person doing my hair, I don't know if it was going to turn out well, for example, which it did. So also, some more advice would be to do a lot of trial runs. I did at least 5 full trial runs of the full faced makeup, and I took a lot of photos, a lot of flash photos on both a DSLR, an iPhone, in different lighting where it was pitch black. I took a flash photo of myself and when it was in daytime, nighttime, and then I saved all the photos and I actually studied them to see, okay, this looked weird, this had flashback, this didn't. I also tested different eye makeup looks. Again, I had kind of a go-to smoky eye look that I would do for clubbing, and that's basically what I did here. I just modified slightly, and I tested a lot of different falsies. And every time I did my makeup, I would take down notes. 2 pumps of this, 2 coats of this, just to make sure that it was all perfect. And then I would write down observations throughout the day. Okay, I needed more black. And I remember in the beginning I didn't have black because I wanted to go for more of a natural look. Then realizing that it's your wedding day, you want to look the best you can, so why not make it smoky? And so I would put in the black. So this is the look, and if you want to see how I did it, stay tuned. Sorry if you hear random sounds in the background. My husband Hui is playing Overwatch right now, and of course there's going to be random taxis, cars, honking, you name it. Starting off with a fresh face, just put on lotion and took a shower this morning. I'm going to pin back my hair here. Get started on the face. So, to prime my face, I use Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. Usually just 2 pumps is enough. I just put it on my hand and then dot it all over my face. This really helps to set everything. It makes sure that your makeup doesn't run, your foundation is all set. Helps to fill in the pores. Now there is SPF in this, but I didn't find any flashback issues. I made sure to take a lot of flash photos and it was fine. I have dry skin, so I don't really have that much problem with oil. So I can't say if this is the best for oily skin, but in my opinion, it helps. Next, we're gonna go into foundation. So I use the Makeup Forever Professional Ultra HD foundation in Y375. And I would say this is definitely full coverage. It gives me a very airbrushed look, and some may say it's slightly cakey, but really that's what you want on your wedding day. You want it to look flawless in photos, you want it to last all day, and you want to make sure it just covers everything. So I usually need about 2 pumps of this, and I just kind of put it on my hand and dot it all over my face. And another important thing is make sure you get your ears and your neck because you don't want to look like you have a mask on. Back. Just put the rest on my neck here. Alright, now with my damp beauty blender, I'm just going to go in and buff. I find that the beauty blender helps a lot because it doesn't make it streaky with when you use a brush, and it just smooths everything out really easily. If you don't know how to use a beauty blender, you basically just wet it and then you squeeze out all the water until there's none left, and then you just kind of bounce on your face. So as you can see, my face is already looking much smoother and like a clean canvas. Make sure you get my ears, get my neck. So the type of dress I wore was a sweetheart, so it definitely showed my entire chest area. So sometimes I get these red spots on my chest, and I made sure to sort of just cover it all up to make sure it looked even. And you can use the skinnier side for the inner corner areas that are harder to get. Okay, so I'm all set now. Next, I'm going to go into concealer, and I've been using the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in Sand. Honestly, it's not the best, but I have really dry under eyes and I used to rub them a lot, so I have wrinkles, and I feel like any concealer I've used shows the wrinkles. So I think I need to find one that's really hydrating. I just haven't had the chance to go out and do research into it, and honestly this was good enough. So I just place it under my eyes in a triangle motion. I try not to overdo it, even though I feel like I just did, because it tends to be a little cakier. And I know a lot of people put it on their nose and mouth areas, but I tend to get really dry here and cracked. And whenever I did that, it just didn't look good, so I just didn't do that. Go back in with my beauty blender and blend it all out. Kind of looks scary at first, but just keep blending. And honestly, it looks really good in photos, so that's kind of what you want. Photos, yeah, real life is important, but photos is what lasts forever, so I would care more about the photos and the video. And most people see you from far away anyway, so it's fine. Next, we're gonna do concealer. I use the Full Cover Makeup Forever in 7, and this is just good for the little imperfections and little spots. What I do is I just squeeze it out and then I tap it onto my hand, and then I go in and get the spots like this on my hand. Alright, next I used MAC's Pressed Blot Powder in medium, and I just take this brush, this Kabuki face brush from e.l.f. Just go in here. It's good to set your makeup with powder because it just makes sure it locks everything in and makes sure that nothing is moving, and it makes sure that you look matte and just ties everything together. For my under eyes, I like to just dip it in here like this, and then I flatten it and then just like roll it exactly on my under eye. That way it gets it. Because like I said, I tend to have a lot of problems with this under eye area. So I just want to make sure it's all set in the concealer, especially since we put all that concealer underneath it. And we are almost done with the face. I really only have this Hoola Benefit bronzer, which it's okay, and at the time I didn't know much about bronzer or contouring, and I was too lazy to figure it out, and I felt like I was fine without it. But I just do this step in case it helps. I don't know, I just use the same brush. I just dip it into this, it's like a brown, dark brownish color, and it is pretty pigmented, so you gotta be kind of careful. And since I don't have a special brush either, I just like flatten it and then just try to chisel in something. I recently used the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Glow one, and it was much better, so think if I had the chance to redo this, I would have rebought that, or I would have bought it. Just going to the other side. Next is blush, and I use the NARS Orgasm Blush, which everyone I remember was obsessed with a really long time ago. Honestly, it's also just okay. I'm not obsessed with it. I feel like I have to put a lot of this on for it to show on my face. I want to say I at least do 4 different coats of it. And even then it's like a nice glow, but it's not super pigmented. So I just kind of smile, use the same brush for, you know. And put it on the apples of my cheeks and a little bit up. Because in real life, it looks like I have a lot of blush on, but honestly, in photos, it doesn't show up all that well. So I would say just like pack it on. Because it's your wedding day, you don't want to look like you're dead. This is pretty much the finished foundation look. I have everything, and now we just need to move on to the eyes. To prime my lids, I use NARS Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base, and it's amazing. It doesn't allow any of my eyeshadows to smudge or ruin out throughout the night. I mean, obviously I got ready at 8 a.m. and I ended the night at like midnight or 2 a.m. and my makeup looked fine. So it lasted through everything. I didn't cry on my wedding day, so I wouldn't say if it would hold up through that, but I guess that's not really your eyelids. Just put it over my lids and on the corners, because we all know I'm gonna have some corner stuff going on. And I use my ring finger to smooth it in. One thing I'd be careful about is if you put foundation on your eyelids, then it'll be kind of weird when you put this on and when you put shadows on. So I would sort of be careful about that, which I don't know if I was during this tutorial, but. So for the entire look, I used my Too Faced Semi Chocolate Bar palette, which is my ultimate favorite. It's really just a good palette because it has all the colors I want, and it's very pigmented, it's buttery, it blends well, but you could use anything. And the look I really went for was like a smoky brown neutral look, because I felt like it looked best in photos, it looked best on me, and I've tried this out many times going clubbing before and it worked, so I just knew it was fine. Alright, so I'm just using this e.l.f. shadow brush, and I'm gonna go into Butter Pecan here and just swipe that all over my lids. I like this as a good shadow base because it's slightly shimmery, and it just adds like a little bit of a dimension. Again, with wedding makeup, you need to go a little heavy-handed because, again, in photos, in video, from far away, this is your wedding day. And I used to think, and maybe some girls like going more natural on their wedding day to look less dolled up, but in my opinion, no, I want to go all out. And I don't regret it at all. I thought it looked really good. Now I'm going to go into Truffles, which is this really matte brown shade, and then I put that all over the lid. You can see how pigmented it is. It's getting dark. I have a slight mono lid, so when I open my eyes you can't really tell, and that's why it looks like I put a lot on, but honestly when you open your eye you can't see anything anyway. So I try to go a little bit above where my eye opens so that you can see a little bit of the brown peeking out. I'm just gonna put a little bit more on so that you can see it better. Kind of see now when I open my eyes, you see a little bit of it over there. And I like to do this in a patting motion. So I feel like it transfers on the color the best. Alright, now I go into this e.l.f. eye crease brush, which is like a really dense, smaller brush, and I go into Puddin', and I do this to sort of create more of like a wing on the outer corner of my eye. I just create a V shape like this, and then I just keep filling it in until I feel like it's blended. I'm just gonna go into the other eye and do the same thing. Next, I take this MAC 217 SE. It came with like a pack I had. It's basically a fluffy blending brush. And I go into Peanut Butter, which is this warm orange, burnt orange color. And then I just blend away. So it kind of blends together the brown from before and the put-in that we just put in. And I just kind of find my brow bone and I sort of just go in like a swiping motion. Kind of focusing on the outer corner. Like how I like to do my makeup is the outer corner is the focus because that's where like the black goes, and it's really where you see it because when I open my eyes, you can't see my lids, so it helps to have that. I'm just gonna do the other eye now. Two more steps now. I go into this darker brown called Hot Fudge to sort of add more definition to the outer corners. And you need to be a little careful with this because you don't want to go too crazy. So similar to the peanut butter, I focus on the outer edge. However, I just want to stay a little more on the outer and not go as inwards because again, I'm adding definition to the outside here. And you can tell it's a little more intense because it has the brown now versus this side which doesn't. Alright, now I'm going to go in here. So I've done the outer corners of both eyes now, and I am going to go into Licorice, which is the blackest color. And again, really light hand with this because one time I went a little overboard and it looked like I had a black eye in some sense. I do appreciate a more intense black on the outer corners because it adds, again, that smoky look, but you gotta be really careful, especially with this palette. So I like lightly dip my brush in, and then I get some color on there, and then I kind of tap it off before I put it in. And then similar to how I did with the brown, I'm just gonna go in and focus on the outer corner and blend that out. And you can see I have a nice smoke on the outer corner of my eye. If you want, you can extend it a little more, but I think that's enough for me. Do the same thing. Alright, so this is pretty much the completed eyeshadow part of it. You can see I sort of have the brown underneath and then the black and the brown, darker browns on the outer corners with the peanut butter to sort of tie it all together. One thing I do like to do is I take, this is actually the brush that came with the Urban Decay Naked Palette or Vice Palette, I can't remember. And I go into this golden caramel color and I just pop that all over the lids. Honestly, I don't know if it does much because when I open my eyes you can't see it, but I thought it added like a nice shimmer and it kind of lightens things up in the inner corners. Now I take this Wet n Wild cream shadow pencil in Pixie and I use this for the inner corners. So I just go in like this. I go over it again with this e.l.f. small smudge brush. It's like a tiny little brush, perfect for the inner corner. I go back into Butter Pecan and I just follow it like this. Just make sure it's blended well. Now on to the eyeliner. I like to tightline with the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On pencil in 0. upper lash line. And then I go into this MAC 212 SE flat eyeliner brush. Go back into Hot Fudge because it's a little softer than Licorice, which is the black. And then I just sort of blend it out and set the eyeliner. I usually only do eyeliner until like 3/4 of the way through, and then I use the shadow brush to drag it. That way it doesn't look as intense. It's darkest at the edges, and then it gets lighter as it gets to the butter pecan color. So that was the look with the eyeliner. And now we're gonna go into liquid liner and do the wing. So I take my Kat Von D Trooper tattoo liner, favorite, and I just do a simple cat eye. So I like to start in the middle and then build my cat eye on the outside because, again, I want to be able to see my eyelid. I used to cover it all in eyeliner, and then I realized it just looks black. So you want to see the gold and the brown peek through. I have to do the other side, which is always a struggle. Okay, done with the liner on both sides. I don't know about you guys, but my eyeliner always looks different on both eyes because each eye is different. So this one, I feel like this one always looks better than this one because for some reason my fold is larger on this one. I don't know, but in the end it all looks fine. Now let's do the brows. I use the Anastasia Brow Wiz in medium ash. I actually have pretty good eyebrows, like these are me without anything on them, and I don't need to do too much. So I just brush through them once and then lightly draw in small strokes. Kind of start at the base here and just sort of fill them in a little bit. Again, we're gonna go a little more intense than what I would do for every day, but just spoolie it through. Maybe add a little more here. Then I just use that same brush I used for the golden color, and I'm going to go into Butter Pecan again to sort of do the highlight of the brow bone. Brows are done. Now we have to do the lashes. It took me a while to find the perfect lashes because I feel like this really solidifies the entire look. For me, I like lashes that show up when I open my eyes, which are kind of hard because a lot of them are more wispy, and so you see them on the edges, but really where I can tell if I'm wearing lashes is if I see them in the front, and that would require like a full, not just wispy, but full in the front as well, if that makes sense. I really like the Sephora Celebrity lashes, but after wearing them for a while, they kind of seem thin and not as thick, and so in photos it wouldn't show up as well. And then I really liked these Sonia Kashuk ones I got from Target a really long time ago, and I can't find them anymore, so I feel like those combined would have been really good. I actually was lucky enough because a friend of mine made me a custom pair of lashes. She basically put two different types of lashes together, which created like the perfect lash for me because it combined almost like the Ardell wispies with the celebrity. So it had the full in the front as well as the wispy. Unfortunately, you can't really buy these, but I feel like if you did your research and you looked around, you can find, or if, like I said, I took the Ardell wispy with the celebrity and glued them together, I feel like it would have worked. So these are the lashes. Again, I don't know if you can tell, one's crisscrossed like the wispies, and then the other one was more of a full, just all over lash that's pretty long. And then she cut them to fit my eyes. Also, not very helpful. I always use the Duo lash glue, but I started finding out that lash glue that uses more of a brush applicator is a lot easier, and you literally use this like you would eyeliner. You just put it on your eyelash, you just swipe it on, and then you don't even have to wait, you can just pop on your eyelashes. So we're gonna try that. So you can tell it's like a brush. And at the end, I actually like to put it a little higher than where my eye ends to sort of match my wing liner. And I feel like that gives the illusion of a bigger and a more almond-shaped eye. Alright, I'm gonna do the other eye now. And here you can see the eyelashes on. So I don't know if you can tell. Let me see if I can go a little closer. But see how when I open them, you can see them, and you can see them in the front as well as the sides, and that's really what I want. You want a full lash. Honestly, this looks the greatest in photos because from far away your eyes just look open, they look big, and they look beautiful. So you definitely need a good set of falsies, and I would try on different ones because you never know which one will fit what you like and your eye shape. I actually don't curl my lashes or put mascara on them to sort of like meld them together because I feel like they're so dead and short anyway, you can't even see them, they just get overpowered anyway. But I will do my lower lashes because that needs some love. I love Maybelline the Falsies in the waterproof formula, so I'm just gonna use that. Both bottom lashes are done. Now onto the lips. I use this NARS satin lip pencil. Honestly, I have no idea what the color is, but it's like this rose color. I just line my lips. I'm not too precise about it. I just feel like it helps add an extra protection layer there. And then my favorite to use is the Too Faced Spice Spice Baby, I want to say it's like a cream lipstick or something. It's very hydrating, very moisturizing, lasts all day. Even towards the end of the night, like I only applied it maybe twice. Towards the end of the night I just stopped doing it because I didn't care anymore, and I feel like the color still was there. And it's a very good My Lips But Better color. It looks darker than I think it is, but we're just gonna pop that on. And one thing I learned how to make your lipstick last longer was you take either a tissue or toilet paper and you separate it, because you know how usually there's multiple layers, so that there's different thinner sheet. And after you apply it once, you take, so I just took my MAC pressed powder and I take the kabuki brush and then I just dip it in here and I powder my lips. I know it sounds weird, but it works because my lipstick lasted all night. So I just go like this, and I go like this. Don't ask me how this works. I don't know. It probably helps that you're putting on like 4 layers of this thing, or like 3, but whatever works. it's good enough. Obviously, do this as many times as you want on the wedding day because you want it to last, and you will definitely be doing a lot of kissing with your husband. And then the last trick, obviously, I'm sure you guys have seen this before, is where you take your finger and you put it through your mouth to make sure you don't get any lipstick on your teeth. Alright, so this is the completed look. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and you learned a lot about how to do your own makeup for your wedding. You save a lot of money and you know it'll turn out well. So good luck everyone, and let me know if you have any questions about doing your makeup or any wedding questions and tips. I love giving advice about this stuff.